Donald Trump is currently having a rage-filled meltdown on Truth Social as his lies continue to be debunked right in front of the American people. Now, in the past couple of days, since Donald Trump launched a strike against Iran, he has been claiming that it's been incredibly successful, that it got all the targets, that it obliterated everything Donald Trump was going after. But new reporting and new US intel assessments are saying something different. And Donald Trump is furious that this reporting is leaking. So I want to show you some of these posts from Donald Trump where he's just losing it. But first and foremost, let's take a look at some of these reports starting here. So the Fordo nuclear site, that underground nuclear enrichment facility that has been so difficult to hit, that was the main site, the main target of the operation. But according to initial military assessments, the site was severely damaged, but not destroyed, as Donald Trump has been claiming. According to the Israeli military, in an initial analysis, they believe the heavily fortified nuclear site at Fordo sustained serious damage from the strike, but has not been completely destroyed, according to two Israeli officials with knowledge of the matter. A senior U.S. official joined that assessment and acknowledged that the American strike on the Fordo site did not destroy the heavily fortified facility, but said the strike had severely damaged it, taking it, quote, off the table. The damage assessments by Israel and the United States are, of course, ongoing, and they have not made any final conclusions just yet. But Donald Trump is going out there and saying it's 100% certain that this site has been, quote, completely obliterated. But U.S. intel is saying, not so fast. We have other reporting saying something different. Here's another article from the New York Times with some crucial U.S. intel that is just devastating for Donald Trump. According to them, a day after Donald Trump declared that Iran's nuclear program had been completely and totally obliterated by American bunker-busting bombs and a barrage of missiles, the actual state of the program seemed far more murky, with senior officials conceding that they did not know the fate of Iran's stockpile of near-bomb-grade uranium. Satellite photos, as we just saw in the other article of the Fordo uranium enrichment facility, showed several holes where these bombs penetrated, and it signals some damage. But there was also evidence, according to two Israeli officials with knowledge of the intel, that Iran had moved equipment and uranium from the site in recent days. And there's growing evidence that the Iranians, attuned to Donald Trump's repeated threats to take military action, because, Donald Trump didn't really hide it all that well, had removed 400 kilograms, or roughly 880 pounds of uranium enriched to 60% purity. That is just below the 90% that is usually used in nuclear weapons. And satellite images released by Maxar Technologies at the tunnels leading in to the Fordo mountain, taken in the days before the American strikes, show 16 cargo trucks positioned near an entrance. An analysis by the Open Source Center in London suggested that Iran may have been preparing for a strike. So right now, we know that Fordo was not completely obliterated, as Donald Trump claimed, and it's looking increasingly likely that Iran actually moved their stockpile of near-enriched uranium because they knew that Donald Trump was striking them. It's almost like Donald Trump is not this master negotiator, this master military guy, as MAGA has been making him out to seem, and this is where Donald Trump's rage posts come in. So when he announced the strikes on Iran, he said a full payload of bombs was dropped on the primary site. All planes are safe. Congratulations to our great American warriors. There's not another military in the world that could have done this. He's hyping it up. A full payload of bombs was dropped. And then he continued to say more and more about this, saying any retaliation by Iran against the United States of America will be met with force far greater than what was witnessed tonight. And I guess according to these reports, the force was not all that forceful. And then it translated into another day, the day after the strikes, and he continued to double down on this lie, this apparent lie, according to this intel, that the strikes and the damage were monumental, that it was obliterating Iran. He said earlier yesterday at around 4:45 p.m., the damage to the nuclear sites in Iran is said to be, quote, monumental. I don't know who he's quoting there. The hits were hard and accurate. Great skill was shown by our military. Thank you, except Again, there is no intel to suggest that the damage was monumental. Of course, these assessments are still taking place, but right now we have nothing. Here's another one that he posted in the middle of the night, 9:55 p.m., saying, again, using the words monumental damage was done to all nuclear sites in Iran as shown by satellite images. Obliteration is an accurate term. The white structure shown is deeply embedded into the rock, with even its roof well below ground level and completely shielded from flame. The biggest damage took place far below ground. Bullseye, he says. Bullseye. Except the bullseye, even if there was a bullseye, probably didn't hit anything because Iran had moved everything out of the facility anyway. He is raging. He is doubling down on this idea that the damage was monumental. He's seeing all these reports coming out saying, hey, actually, I don't think that this is the case. I don't think that the damage was an obliteration, as Donald Trump is saying. And he is doubling, tripling, quadrupling down on this idea that actually it was. Donald Trump can never just say, hey, well, maybe I jumped the gun. Maybe I said something too soon. Maybe when I was giving my speech last night, I shouldn't have given an assessment so quickly, even before American intel was able to give their assessment. He would never say such a thing. And yesterday was just specifically a rage-filled day for Donald Trump. I mean, he was going after members of his own party, his own administration, contradicting them. It was just a disaster. Like, for example, Representative Thomas Massie responded to Donald Trump suggesting regime change in Iran by saying, this is not America first, folks. He also responded to Trump's strike saying, this is not constitutional. Both of these are correct assessments, and he's a Republican representative. This guy is somebody who has praised Donald Trump, voted for Donald Trump, voted with Donald Trump for bills in Congress, and Trump is so sensitive right now, so offended by these reports coming out and all of these, and you can see it in all these Truth Social posts, that he made a Truth Social post specifically for Thomas Massie, saying that actually MAGA doesn't want him. He's not MAGA. MAGA doesn't know him and doesn't respect him. He's a negative force who almost always votes no, according to Donald Trump. He's a simple-minded grandstander who thinks it's good politics for Iran to have a nuclear weapon. And then he also says at the bottom here that he will be going to Kentucky, where Thomas Massie is a representative, campaigning really hard against him to have a wonderful American patriot running against him in the Republican primary. This is the president of the United States who has currently plunged the United States into a war. And instead of focusing on all of that, he's targeting members of Congress in his own party, I might add, in an essay-like post for no reason, simply because there's some disagreement in his party, simply because Thomas Massie's like, yeah, I actually don't think what you did is legal. I think you shouldn't have done it. Donald Trump dedicates this entire essay to him because he's so erratic, so unhinged, and so angry at his lies being called out. This is what we're seeing from Donald Trump. He is clearly unwell. He is clearly unhinged. And both of those are qualities that, quite frankly, I don't want in a quote-unquote wartime president. I don't think that that's a good quality to have in a leader generally, but especially not now. So these posts, I imagine, are going to continue to come from Donald Trump, where he claims that the damage is monumental. But right now, intel is saying otherwise, and I'm inclined to side with the intel over Donald Trump, the pathological liar. So anyway, I just had to bring you Donald Trump's meltdown here, but I'll leave the video there. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you being here. Make sure to subscribe to the channel down below. It goes an incredibly long way. Drop a like on the video, comment, let me know what you think about this story. And as I always say, I greatly appreciate you, and I hope you have an amazing rest of your day.